Hey, it's Jonathan. So, as I follow through on my suggestion to Jack's post on best practices for Make, mine would be scenario documentation. So, as someone who has been in IT for a long time, one thing that used to always be a pet peeve of mine was taking over a project or going into a new environment, and there was hardly any documentation. That's why that's a big pet peeve for me is no documentation. So I have a make scenario for documenting your make scenarios. And in this one's pretty simple. I'll run through it really quickly, but basically it's able to get your make scenarios and document them for you. So let me just run it so you can see. So we're just gonna open it up and it's running through. And in this scenario, there are three things you're going to need. You're going to need make, of course, followed by Airtable, and then someplace to store your actual documentation. In my case, I'm using OneNote. You could use Notion or Google Sheets or even Airtable itself. But with this one, what you'll see and notice is it's actually picking up the scenarios. It's going through, grabbing the blueprint, as well as sending it through a GPT, an LLM, to get a summary of it. Then it dumps it into OneNote. So if I open up my OneNote here, you'll see here is one of my scenarios that's running through. I have 5 going through, so it has 4 so far. But you'll see that it put in the name, the scenario ID, the purpose, the key functionalities, along with the main components. And it has done it for each one of these scenarios that I have. And I have a lot more than this, but I didn't want the video to go too long. But also it goes into Airtable. And Airtable I'm using sort of like as a catalog, so I can see the scenario ID, the last edited, the page created, whether or not it is created or not, and its status. So on the Airtable, I'm using a base called Make Administration. I have a table called Scenario Metadata. In the scenario metadata, there are 4 fields, which is scenario ID, last edited, page created, and status. For the actual make scenario, it's pretty simple. You'll see here I'm using the make list scenarios module, and all it's doing is going into my make and pulling up my organization ID and my team ID, and it's pulling up my active scenario, or not active, but all of my scenarios. And I'll see here that it's pulling in the created by user, the description, followed by the last edit, the name, scenario ID. And that's it for this one. I've limited it to 5, but you could change that and do as many as you want or as many as you're expecting. Like for mine, really, I should have like 100 because I have 86 scenarios in there. But for this demonstration, I just did 5. Next, it goes to an iterator where it's grabbing the bundle order position and setting it up as an array. And then it opens up the make module get scenario blueprint. So under here, it's again using my make connection, and it's looking for the scenario ID. And from there, it is pulling in all of the JSON. So I can open up one here. Oops, where is it? Oh, there it is, blueprint data. So here's the blueprint data that's pulling in. Can't read this way it is right now, but it will read it soon. From there, it goes into, and I'm using Open Router. And in Open Router, I am using GPT 4.0 to do this. I have 2 prompts. I have a system prompt, which basically is telling it that it's an expert technical writer that specializes in documenting automation systems. That's a system prompt. And then it has a user prompt where it says analyze the JSON blueprint and provide a concise and structured description. And I want it to bring in the overall purpose and goal of the automation, key functionalities and how they interact with each other, the main components, their roles and any dependencies, and also it kicks it out as a JSON, giving me 3 fields, purpose, key functionalities, and components. And you'll see here it's pulling in that blueprint data from module 6, which is my get scenario. From there, I have a JSON, a parse JSON module. Even though in here, I did tell it at the beginning of my user prompt that it is to respond in JSON plain text. Also down here, I told it to output the following in JSON format. I'd like to put the parser in there just as a safety, so it'll take in whatever it gets, and make sure that it's in proper JSON formatting. From there, it puts it into my OneNote connection, where it brings up the section, and on each page, it puts the title of the automation, and here's the HTML that I have. And then finally, it goes into Airtable, and it creates a record where it has the scenario ID, its last edited time, whether or not the page was created, that checkbox you saw, and finally, if it is documented. So that is my best practice of using Make, making sure that you document them. I like this scenario. I'm going to build up on it a little more. I wanted to do some more things with the OneNote page. Also, I'm looking at putting in some error handling, but I will include the JSON along with the prompts, and you can see the table information I put in the video. So if you want to use it, good luck, and hopefully it's of use to someone. Thanks. Bye.